Yo, what's up guys? Mate's back. We've got another fragrance video for you today. A bit of a weird one, bit unusual, unexpected. Basically, background to this scent. Jean-Christophe posted something on Instagram last week showing the scent. I immediately saw it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Googled it, found we could buy it fairly cheaply. It was like £20 delivered from France. Not all the money in the world. Bit of an unusual format that it comes in. So we're going to go over the scent today. I'm not going to do a hugely long video on this one. I just wanted to cover it because I am quite positive about it. I think it's very good. So with no further ado, okay, the scent today is called Café Roger. It's a French brand. They do a lot of sort of like stuff on the lower end, although I think they're regarded as fairly high quality. So the scent's called Café Roger by the brand of Roger Gallet. There's a brand new line of roll-ons they've released. So this scent comes in a roll-on format. They've got 4 different scents in the line. And the Jean-Christophe one is called Café Roger. It's themed around sort of coffee, basically. It's a coffee type fragrance. Now this was very interesting to me immediately because I really love coffee fragrances. I don't think I've done a video on it so far, but basically I really love coffee fragrances. So there was a time like early on when I was getting into fragrances, when I was testing all the coffee fragrances that I could get my hands on in the search of like a holy grail coffee fragrance. And I did eventually find one, and there's a couple of other ones I really kind of enjoyed as well that I kept hold of. But there's one in particular that I really enjoy called Awake by the House of Acros, Olivier Crisp's kind of niche line that he does with his sort of like son and daughter, or daughter-in-law, I think. Something like that anyway. Or is this his son-in-law and daughter? But anyway, Awake, really, really nice coffee scent. It's got what I want in a coffee scent. It's strong, it's bold. You can smell the coffee primarily. The other notes around it support it. But what I was always looking for with a coffee scent was something that gave me a big blast of like that, you know, roasted, earthy coffee bean kind of aroma. So Awake kind of ended my look for like the ultimate coffee fragrance. And I've got a few others. There's one I've got which is really not, I don't think it's a single video on it in English. Again, it's obscure. It's quite mass appealing, but it's like an overseas brand that do it. So they've got that one. I've got a cheapy one by another French brand. I can't remember what that brand is called, but I've got another like a cheap coffee scent. I think it's called Café Tonka. What's the brand called? Anyway, it's very cheap. It's got very few notes and it smells really nice. It's got a really nice coffee note in it. If you Google Café Tonka, I think it's the brand is a French brand and they come in like yellow boxes. But anyway, that one's a really nice coffee scent. I enjoy that. Little more femme leaning. So anyway, Awake is the ultimate coffee scent. But Jean-Christophe has never done a coffee scent, as far as I know. He's never done one that's just like dedicated to coffee. He's got Hot Cologne, Mogler, Les Exceptions. That one has a coffee sort of touch to it. It's obviously it's more of a like a cologne type scent. I wouldn't really call that a coffee scent. I would call that more of a sort of a cologne with a coffee touch. It's a really nice kind of coffee touch to it, but there's other things going on. I wouldn't call that the sort of coffee scent I'm looking for in a coffee scent, basically. So Roger and Gallet Café Roger, Café Roger. It comes in a roll-on. You only get 15 mils for your money, so you don't get a massive bottle of this stuff. It comes in a little roll-on bottle. It's a very small bottle. 15 mils, 20% concentration though, so you get a decent concentration here. That's, you know, that would generally be considered like EDP/X-ray, that level of concentration. So it's a higher concentration. I'll read you guys the notes for the scent. Obviously, this is a scent that's been formulated to be a roll-on. It's not going to have a projection per se. It's not going to have, you know, disperse with the sort of evaporation of the alcohol because it's non-alcoholic. But we do know Jean-Christophe is very good at doing those sort of like specialist format of scents. He's got the soaps he did for Balchard, where he converted the soaps into soap, you know, converted their scents into soap format and changed the formulation and got some of these soaps, really nice soaps, these things. He's got another scent, which was a non-alcoholic formula. I never got hold of it, and I don't think it's possible to get hold of it now, but in his sort of list of scents he's created, there's one for a French house that's a non-alcoholic. I think it's something to do with a museum or something. If anyone's interested in that, you can find that. I was never able to get hold of that. I would still obviously like to smell it, but I just couldn't really easily get that. Or I think at the time when it was available, I just, it wasn't high priority sort of thing. So we never got that. But Café Roger, we're all over this because it's not that expensive. You can buy it from My Origins. I think it was about £17 plus £3 postage. So like I said, 20 quid delivered. We'll try this one out. It's going to be like a roll-on style fragrance without alcohol. So it's not going to have huge performance. But we're trying this because we're interested in the scent, basically. Jean-Christophe doesn't make bad scents. So even in this sort of like format, per mil, it's not super cheap either. So, it's not going to be sort of some cheap stuff potentially. It could be a very high quality scent that he's put together for this. So the notes, top notes, bergamot. There's some conflicting notes, by the way. Depending on where you look this up, you'll find different notes. And some of the notes aren't always listed. But to me, the Fragrantica notes, this is pretty much, I think, what you're going to get with the scent. This is what I get. So top notes, bergamot. Although it's not going to be a bergamot because no alcohol, but it's going to be a sort of a zesty citrus nuance to it potentially. Middle notes, cafe latte. Now this is what the scent is marketed around. It's the coffee note. It's a milky coffee, basically. It's supposed to be caramelized. It says in the marketing. How are we going to get that? Are we going to get that very much? A lot of scents to have a coffee note. They don't always have that much of a coffee smell to me. This one's marketing is very much around the cafe, the coffee. So I'm hoping we're going to get lots of that, a noticeable amount of that. And also white florals or white. It says white blossom on Fragrantica, but really that's just a white. It's just like a vague white floral note, generic white floral kind of note in the middle notes. Often paired with coffee again, giving it more lift. And then the base notes, simply sandalwood. So it's going to, it's going to sort of act with the creaminess of the coffee, potentially make it more creamy. And Fragrantica also lists cream as a base note. Now, I don't really know if cream is a base note as such, because in the marketing, it only lists the coffee, the white floral, and the sandalwood. They're the only notes that are listed. So the bergamot isn't actually in there, although I do think that's a note because I do get that. So it's got bergamot and cream as a base note. Someone might have misinterpreted that because it just says a creamy sandalwood on the official marketing for it. On their site, what does it say? An ultra chill fragrance. So the vibe of this is supposed to be sort of chill, as is the style of the thing, the rollerball, without much projection. It's going to be a more chilled, soft fragrance for personal, enjoyment. Doesn't mean it's going to be ultra undetectable, but it does mean it's it's marketed as a sort of a more casual scent rather than a full-on perfume, if that makes any sense to you guys. So maximum feel-good intensity, max concentration of 20% for an intense trail on long-lasting hold. Now, we'll see about that. 90, okay, composed of 80% sweet almond oil. So its base is almond oil, basically, instead of alcohol. 80% almond oil, 20% of the perfumes and the sort of, the perfume type ingredients. And there's some marketing for it. The bottle, if you Google this, you'll find the bottle. Now, interestingly, guys, you're not going to see the bottle for it on this video. I'll tell you why. I got it in. It's this dinky little bottle, so you wouldn't be able to see it too well anyway. The rollerball, it works perfectly well. You can sort of roll it on yourself and it leaves a nice, it goes on the skin nicely. I've never been a big fan of the rollerball type scents, basically. It's just not my preferred way to apply a perfume. So what I did with it, I got some sort of atomizers, and it's very easy to take the little ball out of the original bottle that it came in. I poured it into basically a spray type, an empty bottle with a sprayer. I had to try a few different sprayers, basically because the almond oil, as the base of the perfume, the viscosity is very different to your normal alcohol juice, because that type of juice is basically just liquid. This has more of a viscosity to it and more of a thickness. It's not really designed to be sprayed, to be honest. It really is designed for that, for its intended sort of application through the rollerball. Obviously it's fine, it does work as a rollerball. I just don't really like that myself, to be honest. So I tried a couple of different atomizers, and I was finding when I was spraying it, it was just shooting it in one like literally one like burst of like liquid was coming out, literally just like a, you know, it's just like a squirt of liquid instead of a mist or a sort of, you know, so it wasn't really working for me. But then I found I found one of my old school atomizers from an old Aventus split, and this atomizer is a very powerful atomizer that used to go literally splush and just like smash you with a really nice sort of powerful mist. So that atomizer, I put the sticker from their bottle onto my own bottle, and then we've got the special powerful atomizer from the old Aventus decant. This atomizer is epic, and basically this atomizer works even with this juice. It doesn't give you an ultra fine mist because the juice is very thick and, you know, viscous, like I said, but it's got a nice, like, you spray it and you get a nice splush, and the juice is sort of covering a nice area of skin. So for my purposes of spraying it and getting a nice amount of juice and coverage of the skin, it works a treat. So I'm enjoying this way of applying it, but obviously I wouldn't recommend to do this. If you're going to buy this, I would just use the rollerball, enjoy it from the rollerball, unless you happen to have a really, really high powered atomizer that can disperse a thicker, you know, like an oil based fragrance, basically. Because most atomizers won't. Most of your sort of atomizers you get for like your your sort of empty bottle type, you know, things, they won't work with it. Like, I've tried a couple, I've wasted quite a bit of the juice trying that. So we've got a nice atomizer here. I can use it from and spray it on myself. But again, we're not going to get the opening that we get with, you know, with like alcohol based perfumes. We're going to get it to be, it's going to go on skin, it's going to settle, and then it's going to softly sort of waft around and leave a sort of a trail of smell. For purposes of the video, we'll spray some on my hand, and we'll give you this what I get from the scent. To be honest, I wasn't going to do a video on this unless there was something worth talking about. I was always going to leave, you know, I always leave my reviews on Fragrantica. You can find, you know, Wilfred, you can find Wilfred 3, you can find all my little comments on Fragrantica on his scents, generally on Jean-Christophe stuff, and other stuff as well, primarily on his stuff though. I wasn't going to be doing a video on this unless something spoke to me with the scent. So here we go, we'll give it a spray. There you go, and it leaves a nice, you can see how spread out that oil is on my hand. So this sprayer works very well with this type of juice, basically, to the extent where I don't need the roll-on. Like, I'm getting some more of the roll-ons because I do really like the scent, and I'll probably just put them straight into this bottle and use it. It does rinse quite a lot of the juice doing it this way, but it's like, you know, if you want to get the full wearing experience of this stuff, I feel you need quite a lot of it on your skin, basically. If you were going to do the rollerball thing, you'd be rolling a lot, basically, to get what I'm getting from this atomizer, and just, you know, spraying it the normal way I would spray my normal perfumes. So we got it all over the hand here. There it is. Look at that. It's covered my hand in oil. What will happen is that will just spread out and settle slowly. It won't be quite like this. It will settle down, it will spread, and it will, you know, it will set, basically. It will dry down into like a sheen on the skin, and then it will just waft around, basically. Anyway, the important thing, guys, the scent. What are we getting from this scent? We're getting an absolutely gorgeous coffee scent here, guys. I can believe, you know, I can always believe how sort of pleasant and well blended his scents are. But in this instance, I'm getting a really, really beautifully composed coffee scent. I'll tell you roughly what you get from the scent. You do get a bit of zesty bergamot in there. I do get a citrus touch. Like I said, it's not projecting as such, but it is in there to give a bit more brightness and a bit more lift. So we get a notable citrus. We immediately get the sort of the coffee note. The coffee note is the sort of the core of this scent, the heart of this scent. The cafe latte, we can smell that. It's not super dark and sort of rich, because it is, you know, the style of the scent. It's a soft scent. It's a skin scent type scent with the roll-on format. But I think the scent smells absolutely great, guys. I think this is a really beautifully composed scent. It's just crazy that, we're getting this sort of quality in a little rollerball scent, but it is Jean-Christophe. He's never done a coffee scent before, as far as I know. It's so funny that this is his first proper coffee scent has come in this little roll-on thing. It probably means the market for it's not going to be huge because it's very niche. It's actually classed as like a novelty item on a couple of the sites that sell it. So this is not something that perfume heads are necessarily going to be looking for, but I think this scent smells absolutely gorgeous, guys. I get a really good dose of a sort of a creamy coffee. The floral touch is quite soft. I don't really get too much of the white florals. I feel like it's just in there adding a little bit of the creaminess to the overall vibe, but it's not a hugely like feminine or loud floral scent. So an absolutely beautiful sort of bright coffee sort of smell. It does smell of coffee. That's the prominent sort of note that I get in here. It's kind of like a cappuccino, the sort of cafe latte. It's supposed to be a milky coffee. That's exactly what it smells like. It smells like a coffee with some milk in it, but there's enough of the actual coffee aroma, and this is what I look for in a coffee scent. There's enough of the sort of the roastiness of the coffee that it sticks out as coffee, because a lot of the times in these sort of scents that have a cappuccino note or a coffee note, it's clear that there's a little bit of that touch to it, but there's too much other stuff going on that that crowds out the coffee, and really it's not a coffee scent at that point. It's just other notes with a coffee touch. This one, I feel I get a really nice amount of the actual coffee in this, and it's a really well blended coffee. It's realistic. It's yummy. I wouldn't even call this a gourmand or a feminine perfume. Now, it is marketed to women specifically. This is quote unquote a women's perfume. But for my taste, and I've tried many coffee scents that I felt are too feminine leaning. My little quest for coffee scents, I tried a lot that I felt were just, they always had sort of floral notes, and a lot of the times the floral notes were louder than the coffee in them. This one, because it's quite a soft composition overall and the coffee is fairly forward in it, I feel like this is actually very, very unisex for my taste. This is like, this is a really nice coffee scent, basically. Really cozy, really sort of chill and relax, as the marketing suggests. It's not hugely woody with the sandalwood. It's, again, the scent is quite simplistic. It really is just a creamy kind of coffee smell. And I do get a little bit of the zest of the bergamot in it as well. So it's a bright, uplifting, creamy coffee smell that's super laid back. It's super chill. It's super relaxing. I think it smells absolutely fantastic. Just to say what I get later in the experience of wearing it, it does actually, what I find on it is that as it dries down more and more and more, the later phase of it is where the coffee comes out even more. Basically, it starts to smell more roasted, not bitter, but you get enough of that like roasted coffee vibe from it, which I just think it's exactly what you want in a coffee scent. Basically, there's enough of that in here that really just catches the nose and just smells ultra appealing. So it's not a gourmand per se, but it's certainly not any kind of other scent. It's just what they described as sort of like a chill coffee scent. Basically, it's just a chill coffee scent, but it's very realistic. The coffee in it's very realistic. It's very well blended. For someone who went on their sort of little trail of looking for coffee smells, this is absolutely fantastic, guys. I love the smell. I can deal with the sort of the roll-on format. If I had to just use the roll-on, I would. It's not the end of the world. I could just roll on, and we can still enjoy it. I wore it yesterday. I sprayed quite a bit as I was messing around with different atomizers, and to be honest, I wasted a heck of a lot of it. But we did find a good atomizer in the end. I wore it when I went out yesterday, and it was all over my shirt. You could see the oil kind of stains clothing. So don't necessarily spray it on your clothing, or because it's gonna like the oil is gonna sort of show and stuff. But I went out kind of covered in it really, and I could smell it on myself. I was getting nice wafts of it. It gave me a relaxed vibe. It smelled pleasant, and for what this scent is going for like a relaxed, like just casual scent, and if you're a coffee scent, enthusiast, if you like your coffee notes, I think this is absolutely worth checking out, guys. Not to sort of, sound like I'm just sucking up to everything he makes, but, there's a couple actually I tried lately, and I'm not talking about them because I didn't, they weren't worth bringing on the channel, I thought. But this is brand new, guys. And yeah, Café Roger, this is brand new. If you like coffee scents, or if you just like relaxing, sort of like semi-gourmand type smells, this is absolutely worth checking out. I would go as far to say that if this scent was made into a spray format or an EDP, if this scent was formulated in a way that it would be a normal perfume, a standard perfume, in a spray format, it would be one of the best coffee scents on the market today. It might even be one of the very, very best. And it's definitely one of the best I've smelled. Just in the way it's balanced, the coffee comes through, it's realistic, it's not, overpowered by the other notes. The other notes don't send it too feminine. Everything, for my taste, in a coffee perfume, everything is absolutely perfect here. Like, because Awake, when you wear it like Acro Awake, it's quite full on, it's dark, it's rich. It literally smells of coffee beans and sort of it's got some spice, and I get a bit of a chocolatey vibe from it. This one is your more light, sort of milky, airy, fresh coffee that's just a bit more like relaxed, basically. A bit more relaxed and casual. I love how it smells. I'll tell you what, we're just going to like rub it into my hand here. It's all over my hands, and it just smells great. It just smells great. It works well on my skin chemistry. The further you go into the sort of wearing of it, like I said, you get more and more of the coffee. I was like testing this and smelling it at different sort of phases, and I did find that in the very latest stage, the coffee really hung around. I really got a lot of coffee. So yeah, basically Café Roger and Gallet, Jean-Christophe, making this, formulating it as a rollerball scent. This is batting well above its sort of profile on the market, because like I said, not many people are going to try this out. Your normal perfume enthusiasts aren't necessarily going to look at this and say, oh, this might be one of the nicest coffee fragrances that's out there, because it's just a niche. It's a bit of a niche. It's a bit of a niche product, really. It's a niche product, but I'm telling you that the scent itself, which is kind of why I wanted to check it out. The scent itself, what Jean-Christophe has created, he's composed this scent, he's put this sort of coffee fragrance together in a way that's going to work in a rollerball format. Forget the rollerball format is what I'm saying. I'm saying the actual composition of this scent, as a coffee scent, is absolutely stellar. It's beautiful. I love the smell. I could wear this sort of thing constantly, but that's primarily because I like coffee smells. I like the scent of coffee. But I'm very fussy about how it's done. It has to be done in a way that's not feminine. It needs to smell realistic. It needs to smell of coffee. It needs to have a bit of that roasted vibe to it. And this is just absolutely perfect. Dude, Jean-Christophe, if you're there, dude, please make this into a full-fledged perfume. Like, it's so crazy that he's coming out with this in a roll-on. He's done this in a roll-on format, and we can't get to enjoy this in its fully, it's full fleshed out sort of EDP kind of, spray format. Because I would go gaga for this, guys. If this was an EDP and it was in, it was a full bottle, I would absolutely love it. Like, I would love him to do a proper coffee scent. This is kind of it, but we want to experience this. We want a bigger version of this, basically. I did say about French Avenue's Grow when I reviewed that, and I said the woods in that are so like delicious and kind of, it's with the tonka and stuff. That is such a delicious scent potentially. But if I was to like improve it or like reinterpret that in how I would like to smell it, I would take out some of the sort of spice and the florals potentially and jam in a big fat coffee note in there. So French Avenue's Grow with a coffee note instead of some of the other stuff would instantly be probably the best, maybe the best coffee scent ever made, potentially, for what I want to smell. So, your if you could somehow French Avenue Grow with the woody notes, this with the sort of the cappuccino, like cafe latte note, if you could somehow blend those two scents together, you'd have something mind-blowing, guys, for like for a coffee scent. Absolutely mind-blowing. As it is, this is a little bit of a tease, I feel. I can really enjoy it. I like to wear it. I'm really enjoying the wearing experience of it. I'm not going to be, put off by the rollerball format necessarily because of how good the scent is. Like I said, I've wasted quite a bit. I've only got a little bit left in here. There you go. Oh yeah. Such a good smell, and you do get a bit more of that sort of that citrusiness when it kind of opens up. Such a good smell, just delicious and chilled out. Yeah, you got that bergamot. You got the bergamot more at the start, and then, like I said, the later phase is more the roasted coffee. Just a beautiful smell, a beautiful composition, a great piece of art basically. Even though it's in a rollerball format. So my highest praise is to the Roger Gallet's Café Roger. Unexpected coffee scent grail here potentially. I just feel like if they, Roger Gallet, if I could somehow contact them and say, guys, you've got something really great here on your hands, please just put this in a perfume as well. Put this in an actual EDT, EDP spray. Put that out there, and I think you get some serious praise for it. As it is, it's only going to be very niche, sort of contingent of people that check for it. You're certainly not going to have people like me, getting hold of it. But maybe there's a few people out there. I did post about this on Fragrantica. Quite a few people saw it. Some people were quite interested in it. It's such an easy blind buy because it's just 15, 20 quid for the little roll-on. You can't really go wrong, can you? And if you like a coffee scent, if you like a beautifully composed, sort of light but bright and also very sort of realistic coffee smelling scent, this is it, guys. This is for a cappuccino type, milky coffee scent. This is got to be the best one I've smelled, because I did a lot of sampling of coffee scents, and the ones that went more for the cappuccino type sort of smell without doing the sort of the very dark roasted coffee, none of them really worked too well. There was one that was rare and discontinued that was quite nice, but it was so sort of expensive and hard to get hold of. But if this was just released as a perfume spray, I feel like there'll be a lot of market for a scent like this, because it probably wouldn't be that expensive. It smells super sort of high quality to my nose. I really like the smell of it. I think it smells great. The vibe it gave me when I just had it everywhere, all over myself, all on my clothing, the vibe it gave me was very positive and sort of just, relaxed and chill, as it's supposed to be going for. It absolutely nailed that sort of part of the brief, that part of the marketing. I love it, basically. I love the scent. I had to come on and just give you my thoughts. I don't think many people are going to check for it, unfortunately. It's probably not going to be a very viewed video, but just so it's out there on the public record, Café Roger, a brilliant coffee scent, my biggest praise. And this is coming from someone who's done a lot of sampling of coffee scents. So I'm not just coming on here just because I like Jean-Christophe and just say, oh, it's great because he made it. It's actually great in the wider context of coffee scents that have been brought to market, probably in the last 5 or 10 years. This is a special one, really pleasant. And yeah, if anyone's, wants to talk about it, leave a comment. By all means, I'd love to get more people interested in this. And it's such an easy blind buy. So guys, just blind buy away. If you like a coffee scent, you don't mind the rollable thing. And if you do have the right equipment, the right atomizer that's going to actually spray it out properly, you can do yourself a little bottle of it, a little spray bottle, and apply it that way. Because that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be going ham with my little spray bottle, getting a really nice wear out of it that way. And it's, just beautiful. Beautiful smell. So there you go. There's your Jean-Christophe scent of the day. And we'll see you on the next one, whenever that is.